Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's a little chilly out here, so I'm bundled up pretty good. We're going to do a full pre-trip inspection on a Thomas C2 school bus. This is going to be a full pre-trip, so here we go. We're approaching the bus. We're looking to make sure that it is not leaning to the left or to the right, which could indicate a low tire or a spring problem, broken spring or shock. We're looking at the headlights, the warning lights, and the loading lights, and the clearance lights, making sure they're all clean, secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're going to look at the windshield to make sure it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at the mirrors to make sure they are secure. We're looking at our crossover mirrors here, making sure they're not loose, cracked, damaged, broken, or missing any parts. Same thing on the other mirror here. Crossover mirrors, make sure it's secure, it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're going to look at the side mirror here, make sure it's secure and that they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're going to open the hood. And now we will go underneath here and start our pre-trip under here. We're checking our brake reservoir, make sure it's secure and it has adequate fluid between add and full, which it does. Then we're going to look and make sure it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and it is not leaking. Same thing with the brake lines, all the way down and over here, that they are all secure, they're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our hoses, make sure they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. This bus is AC equipped. We're looking at our air conditioner lines, make sure they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and that they are not leaking. Top radiator hose is in place. It is not, the clamps are tight and is not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. Looking at our belt there, make sure it has no more than 3/4 of an inch of play. The air intake boot clamps are in place, they're solid. If we were to check the oil, we would pull out the dipstick, wipe it off, stick it back in, pull it back out, and check it to make sure it's between add and full. We're looking at our steering drive shaft. Make sure it's secure, it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and that the U-joints are secure, not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. Our power steering lines here are secure, they're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts, and they are not leaking. The gearbox is securely mounted, it's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. The pitman arm is secure, it's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. The castle nut and cotter pin is in place and secure. It's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. The drag link is secure. It's not cracked, broken, loose, damaged, or missing any parts. The castle nut is secure and has the Carter key in it. We're looking at our shock absorber. Make sure it is securely mounted. It's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our leaf spring. Make sure that they are secure. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our spring hangers to make sure they're secure. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. And we're looking at the spring hanger back there. Again, making sure it's secure, not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. Our fuel filters and fuel lines are all secure. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. Looking at the tie rod back there, and it's secure. It's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. And that the Carter castle nut is in place with the Carter key in it. We're looking at our brakes, making sure that our brake lines are secure. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts, and that they are not leaking. We're looking at our brake rotor here to make sure it's securely mounted. It's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. And if you look down in there, you see the brake lining. Make sure there's at least 1/4 of an inch of brake shoes left on there. We're looking at our air conditioner. Make sure the air conditioner compressor is securely mounted. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. It is belt driven. And then we're looking at the inside of our tire. Make sure that the inside of our tire doesn't have any cracks, abrasions, bulges, or damage. We're looking at the tire tread, making sure it's evenly worn, and it has at least 4/32 tread depth on the front steer tires, and they're not re-grooved or capped. And again, looking at the outside of the tire, looking at the sidewalls, making sure they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and there's no bulges. We're looking at the rim to make sure the rim is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and there's no illegal welds. Looking at the lug nuts to make sure they are all secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And if you've seen a rust trail, that would indicate a loose lug nut. Looking at the hub, making sure that it is securely mounted. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. Looking at the valve stem to make sure it's secure. Has a steel cap on it. And if we were to check the tire pressure, it would be between 90 and 110 psi. We will move over to the other side of the bus here. And we're looking at our air intake box, air breather. Make sure it's securely mounted. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. The clamps and boots are in place on it. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. The antifreeze has adequate fluid between add and full, and it does. Looking at the air intake clamps, turbo clamps and boots, they are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Looking at our alternator to make sure it's securely mounted. It's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. The serpentine belt has no more than 3/4 of an inch play in it. The water pump is securely mounted. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. The other AC compressor is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. The washer fluid reservoir is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We would check the leaf springs And the U-bolts, which I forgot to mention on the other side, the U-bolts, make sure they're securely mounted. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And we can check all the lines and hoses here. Same way, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Check the shock absorber, and the tie rod end is back there. Shock absorber, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Tie rod end the same. Looking at the castle nut and the Carter key, make sure it's in place. And again, the brake lines and the brake linings and the caliper is all not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. Inside of the tire, same way as the other side, no cracks, bulges, or damage to it. Looking at the tread depth, the same way, 430 seconds minimum on the front steer tires, evenly worn, no retread or recap tires. The rim, the same way, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, no illegal welds. Lug nuts, not loose, cracked, damaged, broken, missing any parts. Rust trail would indicate a loose lug nut. Again, the hub is in place. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. And again, our valve stem and steel valve cap, 90 to 110 psi in the pressure. Checking this mirror to make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Checking our windshield wipers to make sure they're secure and have good rubber on them. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We'll move over here and look at the other wiper. The same as that side, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the rubber is secure. We will go ahead and shut our hood. And making sure our hood latches are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the same thing on this hood latch. Make sure it's secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We will go down the side of the bus here. We're looking at our DEF tank, making sure the door is securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and it latches properly. The cap is in place on the DEF tank, and there's no signs of any leakage around the cap or on the tank in that area. And we will look underneath here at the bottom of the DEF tank, make sure it's secure, not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. Look at the loading light here, make sure it's secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Making sure that our reflector, amber in front of the duals, is clean, secure, it's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. Looking at all of our glass, make sure it's all secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Looking at our clearance lights, make sure they're secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're moving down the side here. We're going to look up underneath. Okay, we're looking underneath. We're looking at the exhaust system. Make sure that it is all secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And it is not leaking. A soot pattern or trail around on the exhaust system somewhere would indicate a leak. We're looking at the frame to make sure the frame is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Both sides. We're looking at the drive line to make sure that the drive line is intact. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Looking at the U-joints, making sure they're secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the carrier bearing is secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And again, the U-joints here, same way, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our rear differential. We're making sure that the rear differential is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. We're looking at the leaf springs on this side, on the back here, making sure they're secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and the hangers are in place. We're looking at the rear brakes, making sure they're secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and that they are not leaking. We're looking at the brake lines back here, make sure they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at the U-bolts on the rear differential, make sure they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. The rear tires, looking between the duals to make sure there's no debris between the duals, and that they are clean and they're evenly spaced. Get back out here, and the rear duals tires should have no less than 2/32 tread depth, and they're evenly worn. Looking at the rear lug nuts, same as we checked the front, they're not loose, cracked, damaged, broken, or missing any parts. And a rust trail would indicate a loose lug nut. Rim the same way, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And there's no illegal welds. Also, back on the frame underneath that we was looking at, you're also looking to make sure there's no cracks, damaged, no illegal welds on the frame. The hub is in place, the bolts are secure, it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. The valve stem is in place, and the steel valve cap, and it's secure. If we were to check the pressure, it would be between 90 and 110 psi. Looking at the mud flap, make sure it's secure, it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at the rear fuel door. Make sure the cap is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the door latches properly and securely. Now we're looking at the rear shock absorbers, making sure they are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And again there, looking at the U-bolts from the back side, making sure they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our fuel tank while we're under here and making sure that it is not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and that it is secure and is not leaking. Looking at the DOT tape down the side of the bus, and all the DOT tape to make sure it's secure, it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at the back of the bus. We're looking at the tail lights, turn signals, backup lights, brake lights, loading lights, and warning lights, and clearance lights, and rear reflectors, to make sure all that's secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and they are clean. We're looking at the rear glass and the rear DOT tape, making sure it's all secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. The exhaust stick is not more than 2 inches out from the back of the bus, and it's secure. Red reflector on the back behind the duals. It's secure. not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. DOT tape down the side, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And it is secure. The windows on this side are secure. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. We would check everything the same on this side as we did on the other side with our tires and our underneath. Difference on this side is the stop arm. We're checking it to make sure it's secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. The amber reflector is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our storage compartment here with electrical. It is secure. It's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. And the wires are secure. There's no foreign debris, and there's no frayed, broken, or damaged wires. The door works properly and latches properly. We're looking at our battery door. Make sure it's secure. It's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. Looking at our batteries to make sure they're secure. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. The battery tray is secure. Not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. And the battery cables are secure. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. Battery door latches properly. And we will move on around to inside the bus. We're looking at our service door. Make sure the seals are in place. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. And they are secure. We're looking at our stair tread depth to make sure that it's secure. It's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. And our step loading light is secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our handrails are secure. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. We have our body fluid kit and first aid kit. They're in place. They're secure. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. Looking at our fire extinguisher. Make sure it's securely mounted. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And it is properly rated, proper and dated inspection. And that the gauge is in the green. And the pin is in place. Then under here we have our reflective triangles. And let me get them open here. We would open that and make sure there's 3 reflective triangles. And in our cubby over here, we have our insurance and registration. Some districts will have the insurance and registration in the first aid kit. We have it over here in this cubby. Now we're going to put our emergency exit door release in the locked position for normal operation. We're going to sit down in our seat here. We're going to grab our seat belt. We're going to make sure the seat belt is not cracked, damaged, broken, frayed, or missing any parts. Then we will make sure that it properly latches. Always do seat belt first once you sit down. Excuse me. Then we're looking at our sun visor. Make sure it's securely mounted, not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our student mirror. Make sure it's secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our fan. Make sure it's secure. It's not cracked, broken, damaged, loose, or missing any parts. Both of our fans. Then we're going to start the bus, and we're listening for, when we turn the key on, we're listening for the humming sound. That is the brake press, and it is humming. We will turn the key on and wait for the wait to start light to go out, which it has. Then we'll start the bus, and we're going to put 1, 2, 3 pumps on the brake and hold it. Again, this is hydraulic brakes, and we're going to hold it for 5 seconds and make sure that it does not bleed down, which it does not. Then we will check the gear shift to make sure it shifts through all the gears properly, and it does. We'll put it in drive and make sure that the brake holds, which it does. The park brake. And then we will check our windshield wipers and washers, make sure that they are working, and they are. And then we'll check our horn, make sure it's working, and it is. Our left turn indicator lamp, our right turn indicator lamp, our four-way flashers, turn on our headlights, our bright indicator is working properly. We're looking at our oil pressure to make sure it is in proper operation range, and it is. We're looking at our fuel to make sure we have adequate fuel and DEF fluid for the trip we're going to make, which it does. Our water temperature after running for a while will come up to normal operation. It's cold right now. And our transmission temperature the same way. Once we reach normal operation range, it will come up. We're going to look and make sure that we have 13.9 volt. We should be between 12 and 14 volts on our alternator, which we are. We're at 13.9. Then we have our tachometer is working properly. Our dash lights are working properly. Then we're going to check our defroster fans. Make sure that it's all speeds are working. And we'll put our hand up here to make sure we feel air coming out, and we do. There's air coming out of the defrosters. And then we're going to check our other interior lights, make sure they're all working properly, and they are. Checking our interior fans, defrost fan, low, high, and off. Other defrost fan, low, high, and off. Heater fan, right step well, low, high, and off. Rear heater, if you can hear them, low, high, off, and low, high, and off. Our rear heaters are working properly. Now we're going to back up, release our brake. We also want to make sure when we started the bus that the ABS light went off on the brake. I forgot to mention that. Make sure the ABS light went off on the brake and that it did not come back on after starting the bus and running a brake check. Now that we've backed up a little here, we're going to go forward approximately 5 miles per hour, and we're going to do firm pressure on the brake, holding the steering wheel to make sure it doesn't pull to the left or to the right, which it did not. And then we are going to check our interior portion of the school bus pre-trip. We're checking our seat backs on our way back to the back of the bus, making sure that all of our seat backs are secure and they're not cracked or they're not loose, and there's no damages on the seats. And as we check those all the way back, we get to the back door here, we're gonna check our back door beeper, make sure it works and our latch works properly, the door opens and closes properly, and we need to make sure that it locks open and the lock is working properly, and it is. Then we're going to check our seat bottoms on our way back forward, making sure they are all secure. And we're going to check our emergency roof hatch. In order to do that, we push it up like that, and then we turn the lever here to release or exit, push it up and it releases. Now this is a tricky part right here that a lot of people struggle with, and I'm going to attempt to show you this one-handed while holding the camera. But if you look right there, the tab on the top piece should line up with these little tabs here and go between these tabs and the tabs on the back, and they slip right between there, and then you pull it back down and it's latched, and you turn your latch back in place and then pull your hatch back down, and that did not quite latch. So I'm going to put the camera down just a second so I can use both hands to fix this. Sorry about that. And I'm working on this latch. Okay, sorry about that. We got that back together now. We're checking our emergency exit window. Make sure that the beeper works and the window opens properly and swings open and closed properly and relatches properly. And we would check the other windows the same way, and the other roof hatch up front the same way, and we'll check the seat bottoms on our way back forward and that they are all secure. And now, if we had a second person to go out and look at the lights outside, we would send them out to do so. Since we do not have a second person to go check those, I am going to turn on my four-way flashers, my headlights, my student loading lights, which turns on my stop arm. I'm actually going to close the door and activate the yellows. And by yourself, you can check these normally by looking in your crossover mirrors, and you can see that you're flashing, your yellow lights are flashing on the top in front. And then we can run to the back here, open our door, and look outside and see that one is flashing and that one is flashing. And then we'll go back up here and open our door, and we'll go outside and check our lights since we're by ourselves. We're looking at our headlights. They are working. Our turn signal flashers are working, our red loading lights are working, our clearance lights are working. Our side marker light here is working. Our clearance lights are working down the side. Our stop arm is out and both lights are working front and back. Our side marker light here is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And it is flashing. We will move to the back. And as you can see, our flashers are working back here. Our tail lights, our loading lights, our clearance lights are all working properly. And we would check reverse lights if we had a second person. We will close the door. And that concludes the video for today. Thank you for watching. Bye now.